I installed the security camera to catch thieves, not my wife welcoming another man into our home while I was at my father's funeral. I never planned to be the guy writing something like this. I always thought my life was too ordinary. I'm 36, work in IT, live in a quiet suburb in Indiana, and I've been married to my wife, Haley, for just over 7 years. We met through mutual friends at a barbecue and hit it off over our shared love of classic movies and bad Chinese takeout. It wasn't fireworks right away, but it was easy, comfortable, real. Or at least I thought it was. My dad passed away last month after a long, ugly battle with Parkinson's. We were close, not in the touchy-feely kind of way, but he was the guy who taught me to change my oil, swing a hammer, keep my head down, and do the right thing. Losing him hit me like a truck. I spent the last week of his life mostly at the hospice center, taking shifts with my sister, so he was never alone. I barely slept. Haley told me to go be with my family. Don't worry about anything here, she said, I've got the house. She said that a lot, I've got the house. She didn't mean financially, we both worked and split things pretty evenly. But she liked control. She took pride in organizing things. Calendars, decorations, routines. She made things run smooth and I trusted her. God, I trusted her. About 2 years ago, we got broken into. Nothing major, just some punk broke the side gate and tried the back door. Didn't get in? But after that I installed a couple of motion-activated cameras. One by the front porch and one facing the back patio. They weren't fancy, just those little Wi-Fi ones that alert you when there's movement. I didn't really look at the footage unless something set off the notification. Until that day. The funeral was on a Thursday. I was gone from Wednesday night through Friday morning, staying with my sister to help coordinate everything. Haley didn't come. She said she had an important work presentation. I'll light a candle here, she texted. I believed her. I believed everything. When I got home Friday afternoon, something was off. Not huge, just little things. The downstairs bathroom smelled like a cologne I didn't wear. The couch pillows were rearranged. The wine rack had one bottle missing and it wasn't the cheap one. I asked Haley if anyone had been over. She blinked at me too fast. No, why? That should have been the moment. That should have been the blinking red light in my gut. But I shrugged it off. Maybe I was tired. Grieving. Paranoid. I tried to push it away. Until Sunday morning when I went to check a delivery notification on my phone and saw the camera had picked up motion on Thursday night. I tapped the alert without thinking, sipping my coffee. What I saw made my stomach fall through the floor. It was Haley, standing at the front door around 8:23 p.m., looking like she'd gotten dressed for a date, hair done, lipstick, that red top I hadn't seen in a while. She opened the door, smiled, and let a man in. Not a neighbor. Not her brother. A man I'd never seen before. Tall, tan, button-down shirt, sleeves rolled up. He walked in like he'd done it before. And she closed the door behind them without looking back. I didn't say anything at first. I just sat there on the edge of the couch watching the video again. And again. My coffee went cold in my hand. The same scene played out 3, 4, 5 times. Her letting him in. The way she smiled. Like she was happy. Like she'd been waiting for him. You know what hit me hardest? She never looked worried. Not for a second. Didn't glance at the camera. Didn't act like someone doing something she'd regret. She just did it. I paused the footage and stared at the guy's face. Tried to place him. Thought maybe I was jumping to conclusions. Maybe this was a coworker. Maybe they were working on that big pitch she mentioned. But who shows up dressed like that at 8:23 p.m. while your husband is at his father's funeral? Still, I told myself, don't overreact. There has to be an explanation. That night, I sat across from her at dinner, just studying her. She was on her phone a lot. Said her team was being a nightmare about deadlines. She laughed at a meme. Told me the grocery store ran out of oat milk. She acted like everything was normal. I couldn't eat. My stomach was in knots. I finally asked, as calmly as I could, hey, anyone stop by the house while I was gone? She didn't even flinch. Just shook her head. No. Why? No deliveries? Maintenance stuff? Nope. Why are you asking? I watched her closely. Her voice didn't crack. Her eyes didn't twitch. She was good. Just seemed like the couch was moved a little, I said. Maybe I'm imagining it. She smiled. You probably are. You've been through a lot. Yeah, a lot. Like watching my wife let another man into our home while I was standing over my father's casket. That night, after she went to sleep, I checked the footage again. There was more. They stayed for almost 3 hours. He didn't leave until nearly midnight. And the camera by the back patio caught them again, this time stepping out briefly. He was laughing. She leaned into him. There was no mistaking it. This wasn't work. This wasn't innocent. And yet, I still didn't say anything. Not right away. I spent the next few days watching her, quietly going numb. I checked her texts when she left her phone on the charger. Nothing. Clean. Too clean. I started thinking maybe they used a different app or maybe she deleted everything after he left. One day, I finally asked, "Who's Ryan?" She looked up from her laptop. "Ryan? Yeah. Someone from work." She paused just a hair too long. "Yeah. New guy. Why?" "Just saw an email subject with his name. Didn't recognize it." "Oh. He's on our marketing team. Kind of annoying, honestly. Kind of annoying." That's what she said. I nodded, then went outside and sat in my car with the door shut. And I screamed into the steering wheel. It's a strange thing, pretending your world hasn't cracked down the middle. You wake up, per cereal, nod at the same jokes you've heard 100 times, and kiss someone goodbye who you now know has a stranger's laugh etched into her memory. For a week, I lived in that in-between. Between truth and confrontation. Between rage and restraint. I'd stare at Haley across the table and wonder if she even felt guilty. If she knew I knew, would she cry? Apologize? Or just pack her things and go without a single tear? But I needed more than just footage. I needed confirmation. Something undeniable. Something that would shut down every possible lie. So I went through the camera archives. I pulled the SD card and loaded it onto my laptop. Watched every flagged moment for the week I was gone. Watched her come home Wednesday night in that red top, drop her bag by the door, and light candles. Candles. For him. She even adjusted the lighting in the living room, dimmed warm. At 8:23 p.m. he arrives. She kisses him at the door. Quick. Familiar. Not romantic, but not casual either. Like this wasn't the first time. They go inside. Curtains drawn. Lights stay on for a while. He walks into my kitchen, opens the fridge like it's his. Grabs a bottle of wine. The good one I'd been saving. My dad's favorite. Pours 2 glasses. The back camera picks them up again later, standing by the porch railing. He has his arm around her waist. She leans her head against his shoulder. And then they disappear inside again. He leaves around midnight, same way he came. No hug. No wave. Just walks out like he lives here. And Haley? She locks the door, turns off the lights, and walks past the camera with the same calm expression she always has when she's checking if she forgot to feed the cat. Like nothing had just happened. I sat there staring at the paused frame of her face. Cold. Comfortable. Familiar and suddenly foreign. I realized in that moment I was grieving 2 things, my father and the version of her I thought was real. That night, I copied the video to a secure folder and emailed it to myself. Twice. Labeled it something neutral. I didn't know what I'd do with it yet, but I knew I couldn't unsee what I saw. And I started noticing more things. Her phone was always face down now. She started taking her showers earlier in the evening. She kept saying she was tired around 9 o'clock and going to bed before me, something she never used to do. And her work stories got vaguer. Fewer names. More meetings and networking events. On Thursday, I asked her if she wanted to go out that weekend. Just us, I said. We haven't done that in a while. She hesitated. Actually, Ryan's birthday is Saturday. We're doing a little team thing. Might be weird if I bailed. I nodded slowly. That's fine. Maybe next weekend. I smiled. She smiled back. But inside, something burned. I was done collecting data. Done playing dumb. I had a plan now. Saturday came like a storm I'd already seen in the forecast. Haley got ready slowly like she wanted to be noticed. Curled her hair. Lip gloss. Spritzed perfume I hadn't smelled in months. She wore a dress I'd complimented once at a wedding, back when things still felt safe. Back when I thought we were safe. Too much, she asked, glancing at her reflection. I forced a grin. You look great. She smiled like everything was normal. Don't wait up. It might go late. I watched her walk out the door. Watched her car pull away. Then I grabbed my keys. I didn't know exactly where she was going, but I had a strong hunch. I'd heard her on the phone earlier in the week telling someone she'd park nearby and walk in so nobody sees the plates. That one sentence had stuck in my brain like a splinter. So I followed her. Stayed 2 cars back. No music, just the sound of my own heartbeat. I didn't even know what I'd do if she caught me. I wasn't thinking that far ahead. She pulled into a quiet residential street on the west side of town. Parked halfway down. Got out, checked her phone, and walked down the block toward a modest 2-story with the porch light on and 2 cars already in the driveway. I waited. 5 minutes later, I pulled up and parked 3 houses down. That's when I saw him. Ryan. standing in the doorway in jeans and a polo, holding it open for her, smiling, like he'd been waiting. She stepped inside and he pulled the door shut behind them. There was no party, no coworkers, no celebration, just them. I sat in my car for 20 minutes. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't drive into his living room like a movie character on a rampage. I just sat there, cold, clear, and done. That was the moment I accepted it wasn't a mistake. Wasn't a one-time lapse in judgment. She'd made choices. Over and over. And the woman I married wasn't coming back. I drove home. Quietly. Methodically. And I started packing. Not everything. Just the essentials. Laptop. Passport. The important documents from the fire safe. Some clothes. Dad's old watch. And the backup drive with the footage. I didn't leave a note. Instead, I did something colder. I changed the admin password on the security system. Changed the Wi-Fi password. And logged her out of every shared account, Netflix, Amazon, everything. Not out of pettiness. Out of peace. I was taking myself with me. At 11:07 p.m., I turned off my phone and left it on the kitchen counter, face up, unlocked, next to her favorite mug. The screen showed a paused frame from the camera footage. The one of her letting Ryan in. No caption. No confrontation. Just the truth. And then I walked out the front door for the last time. I didn't check my phone the next morning. Mostly because I didn't have it. I'd left the chapter behind on the kitchen counter with a frame frozen in time like a digital slap to the face. Instead, I checked into a modest hotel off the interstate. Nothing fancy, just clean sheets, privacy, and a bolt on the door I controlled. For the first time in weeks, maybe months, I exhaled without feeling like I was breathing through a straw. Around noon, I borrowed a phone from the front desk and called my sister. She didn't ask questions. She just said, "Come home." By the time I pulled into her driveway 2 hours later, she had already made up the guest room, put fresh towels on the bed, and stocked the fridge with the snacks she remembered I liked as a kid. She didn't push for details. Just hugged me tight and said, "Whatever it is, you don't have to carry it alone." That night, my sister handed me a burner phone she'd picked up. "In case you want to talk to someone," she said. "Or not. Your choice." I turned it on. 12 missed calls. 6 voicemails. 1 text that said, "I saw the footage. Please just come home. I can explain." Explain? Explain what exactly? That it was just a work event? That she didn't mean for it to happen? That somehow all of it, the wine, the late nights, the dress, the candles, the kiss, was a misunderstanding? That first voicemail was mostly silence, just her breathing and then a shaky please. The second started with, "Okay, I don't know how you got that video, but I stopped listening." By the fourth one, she was crying. Full on sobbing. "I messed up. I know. But please don't throw everything away without hearing me out." But here's the thing, she had already thrown everything away. She just didn't expect to get caught. I didn't reply. Not then. Not for the next 4 days. During that time, she sent me over 30 texts. Apologies. Excuses. Even one that said, "Nothing physical happened." I swear. I laughed out loud when I read that one. As if the emotional betrayal wasn't enough. On the 5th day, a mutual friend texted me out of the blue. "Hey. Haley's been trying to reach you. She's really falling apart. Says you disappeared." I didn't respond to him either. Instead, I met with a lawyer. I showed her the footage, explained the timeline, and laid out my plan. I wanted a clean break. No drama. No drawn-out war. The lawyer nodded. "You did your homework. This won't be easy for her to twist." The next day, the divorce papers were drafted. I had them served at her office. She tried calling me the moment they hit her desk. 6 calls in 10 minutes. I didn't answer a single one. Her last voicemail simply said, "I never thought you'd actually leave. Please, don't do this." But I already had. It's been 9 weeks since I walked out of that house. 9 weeks since I stopped pretending that the version of my life I loved hadn't already been hollowed out from the inside. I signed the divorce papers 2 weeks ago. My lawyer called it remarkably clean. No kids, no shared business, separate bank accounts. The only asset we really argued over was the house. She begged to keep it, said it was all she had left. Said she couldn't live in a place haunted by what she did unless she could make it right. I let her keep it. Because it wasn't home anymore. She sent a letter after the final papers cleared. Not an email. Not a text. A real letter, handwritten, folded into a clean white envelope with a little heart next to my name. Inside, she wrote 4 pages of memories. The place we went for our first anniversary. How she cried watching me fix up my dad's old watch after he passed. The Sunday mornings with coffee on the porch and bad documentaries we never finished. And then she wrote, "I don't know why I did it. Maybe it was boredom. Maybe it was selfishness. I think I wanted to feel wanted again. But it wasn't worth what I lost. You, the safety in your voice, the calm you carried when the world felt loud. I'd give anything to take it back, but I know I don't get to ask for that." At the bottom she wrote, "If you ever come home, I'll be waiting. No pressure. Just waiting." I read it once. Then I folded it neatly and placed it back in the envelope. And I burned it. Some ghosts aren't meant to linger. I live in a one-bedroom now. Simple. Clean. Quiet. I picked up woodworking again, something Dad used to do in the garage when things got hard. I built a small shelf last week, just big enough for the few things that still matter: his watch, an old photo of us fixing the roof, and a flash drive. That flash drive holds the footage from the night Haley let Ryan into our house. I haven't watched it since that day. But I don't delete it either. Not out of spite. Not as evidence. I keep it for the same reason some people keep scars, to remember what healed. Some nights I still dream I'm back there. That she walks in, smiles, and says, "I missed you." But even in the dream, I know better now. I wake up, feel the weight of quiet peace on my chest, and thank whatever force gave me the strength to not stay. Because sometimes love doesn't leave in one clean break. It unspools like old tape, slowly, then all at once, until you're standing outside your own story, wondering who you were and why you stayed so long. But not anymore. Not me. Not again.